Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
Yeah. Young Satoshi. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on a blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These dragons selling like they hotcakes. We go to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. Dragonchain, 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 Dragonchain. Mine 10 blocks on a blockchain. My ETH father for the got paid. These dragons selling like they hotcakes. We going to the moon like we don't got breaks. If you want to transact on a marketplace, Dragonchain, Dragonchain, Dragonchain. My ETH costs more than your rent. I spend my life savings, get a 10. Dragons get the hottest coming next. Me and Joe Rose making bets. All this shit seem new to me. Mixing blockchain with security. Keeping data safe is the fluency. How could you not fuck with the company?
All right, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky, the Dragonchain Updates show. This is episode 1/18, that is, or 11D8, that is 0x118. It is the 281st weekly episode with AMA. Over 5 years, I think that's right. And reminder, nothing on this show is financial advice. Stay tuned after the quick updates for the AMA. We get straight into the updates with the Dragonchain update to start. So the distribution of governance lot for this show from last week was 1,506 lot. 2 questions for 376 lot each. The host received 376 lot. Dragonchain received 377 lot. The rounding error included. That's all of the main Dragonchain updates. There's some stuff in AMA and some stuff to update you with, so stick around. Next, we will go to Den.Social updates real quick, and we have LCP results. That's the layer creation process on Den.Social. The number 1 proposal as ranked by lore committed was Dreams at 1.3 million lore. So there will be 1.3 million lot NFTs created. 23 unique voters nominated by Y'all Weird the Great. Y'all Weird the Great in June of 2024. So it's not that old, right? Number 1 by unique voters was Planet Soccer with 341,000 lore committed and 24 unique voters. That was nominated by Cappy in December of 2020. I don't think we've seen Cappy for a while, right? I don't think I've seen any questions for him for a while. Him or her. Next, we go to DenDAO updates. And as a reminder, DenDAO discussions are in a DenDAO layer. I do believe that the Emperor, I am for I am, is set to return from time off, which I don't know. I don't know exactly when he's back, but one way or another, that a new show will commence. And with that new show, I'm going to try to get this stuff rolled into it so that we'll just have always a place with a consistent schedule where people can go and ask questions or offer ideas, comments, whatever else. So, but for now, you can go into that post and maybe you'll get on the first show even if you are in there. Next, let's see here. We go to World Blockchain Roundtable updates. Again, World Blockchain Roundtable is, it's been running for 3+ years. It might be almost 3.5 years, I think. And it is the first ever, and I still believe the only DAO-based podcast where the listeners, the people who get questions on air, and the panelists actually can control the show. So last week, if you missed it, was Roger Ver's case update and its effect on blockchain. Go watch it. And the more views it gets the first week, the more lot will be created, the more NFTs will be created for governance of the show. So that's how it works. It's pretty interesting, pretty cool model. And there are a lot of other systems that are coming up that appear to be looking into the same model because it works, and it works over time even. So it's nice. Okay, next, this week's episode, which airs today at 1100 Eastern, 1500 UTC. That's in about 52 minutes. The topic is crypto and the world becoming centralized or decentralized? Episode 187. Make sure you get in there and watch that today. That should be an interesting episode. Couple of things. I mean, I think anyway, it'll be interesting. Good things, bad things happening related. Let's see how many questions there are. See if there's some good questions. Jacob Wayne, always good questions. Dayrox, always good questions. I am always what's the word? Lots of questions. So good stuff. And let's see here. Next, we go to Drakaria updates. So there are interesting things happening. We're trying to figure out some of the announcement schedule and how we roll some of this out. There are still at least a couple of handfuls of gateway keys yet to be given away. We've rolled off with the holidays. We've rolled off the weekly spaces. We've gotten through so many topics. We'll probably pick that up again, or at least pick up something in the new year before we launch. We're in testing. We have a few more things to deploy. Really good, interesting stuff happening with Drakaria, and now it's all about all the little nitty gritty details and getting them sorted before we roll everything out. So beginning of the year should be super exciting for Drakaria. So make sure you pay attention to that. Get in there. Make sure you're following if you aren't already. Drakaria World on X, and read the white paper if you haven't. Ask questions if you haven't. We're always open. Even on this show, you can ask questions in the AMA about Drakaria announcements and everything else. Okay, so that is it, and I'm going to go over here to today's show post, and while I refresh the AMA questions, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this show. And if it isn't asked, I'll answer some stuff about the case after the AMA, because I don't know if that's asked or not, or whatever. I'll give you at least what I can today, and then you'll know, right? So thanks for watching, and let's see here. So it's 11D8, or what is it? 1/8, I think. Let's see here. First question from Oxons. Sorry if this is getting cut off. This is kind of annoying. I'm trying to, if I spread this too far, it gets too small. Anyway, just today, before the case against the SEC, I would like to do an imaginative and perhaps amusing exercise, and potentially dangerous exercise, I imagine. Imagine the best situation that could obtain on the 20th day against the SEC. I assume you mean on the 20th, okay? What would Dragonchain's situation be like 6 months later? Think big. So I don't want to get into what I think is the best situation that could happen on, what is it? It's today, the 9th, tomorrow. Tomorrow would be the 20th, Friday, right? I will tell you the date, and I'm no attorney. You can all thank you can thank the stars that I'm not an attorney, right? It probably would drive me crazy. So I'm not an attorney, but as a layperson, understand it, the date is potentially inconsequential. The date doesn't mean a lot. It was an arbitrary date set because there was some negotiations going on. I do not know what happens if the negotiations finish before then or not. That's kind of outside of my high priority list. The thing that I'm prioritizing is the negotiation itself, and figuring out whether we can get a realistic deal that is good, and most importantly, probably the top thing, and the great thing is I have confidence in our attorneys, because on their own, they understand and have made it extremely clear, crystal clear, explicitly, that no matter what happens, Dragonchain will necessarily continue to operate. That we have several customers that are loyal customers and near and dear to our hearts. Not only companies that are doing great things, not only projects that are super exciting intellectually, but people that we actually love, because these people have had the courage to continue with Dragonchain, even when the SEC was doing what it was doing, and even when others out in the field were, bad talking us and doing bad things that don't make sense. So we're never going to give up on these projects or these people, and that includes some of the, our own projects internally, DRAKARIA, Den, and various other Eternal, right? So all of those things are super important to us, and that is the number one thing. No matter what happens, whether we settle, whether we go to trial and lose, whether we go to trial and win, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinion, Dragonchain will be radically further forward than it is right now, because all of that stuff will be behind us, and we will have a pretty obvious level of I don't know what the word I would want to use is, redemption, maybe, that we are we've stuck with it for 7 freaking years, and we're coming out of it, and it's an extremely exciting thing. So there's a long way to say I can't say what the best thing would be, right? There are several things that could, but I don't want them to affect the negotiations that are that are still happening. So I will say, really good developments, really positive developments have come up pretty unexpectedly, actually, in the past few weeks, and we're doing our best to be responsive and try to make all this happen fast. But you can imagine, there's a ton of operational and development questions that arise out of different scenarios. So it's a huge set of possibilities, and I would say by far almost all of them are extremely positive. Even the most negative things that I could think of, that I put, and even in consulting with the attorneys, I've put very low probability on some of the worst things that could happen. Even with those, we would be, even if that happened, and I'd welcome it, because we have things to build, we have things to do, and that would dictate whether or not we operate in the US or not, and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter in the end. This is blockchain, this is decentralization, and it doesn't really matter where we operate. And if the US isn't smart enough to figure out that they should want us here, then we won't be here. That's okay, right? I don't care. What I care about is the technology and the things that can be built from it, right? The things that should already exist, the things that will exist, and the things that we just have to figure out how to make them happen. I mean, they're all, you have to think about resources and getting things built and all that. So anyway, great question. And maybe I would be able to better answer it in the future, after everything is settled, after we have everything done. But I can say, 6 months later, I'm not sure about timing, but you can imagine uh, attention as a resource, the case itself ending. We will get some amount of attention. We will get some things happening. There are a couple of the scenarios that could result in some pretty radical, interesting developments that will get a lot of attention. And then you think about also Dracaria coming out. I do think that in time it will get a lot of attention, and then the other project that is yet unannounced but is related very heavily with Den, if that should get the commitment and then the funding, it'll be huge. And so all of these things come together, and it's going to be very interesting. So hopefully, you can just imagine what does all of that mean to Dragonchain, and to some of the products that we would have already had out by now had this case not drained us of all our resources. But it'll come. They can't stop it. So anyway, next question. I am Emperor of Den.Social. Den question, one more time. Can you explain how Den postings and replies are written to other blockchains? Is this only the text, correct? Okay, so I will show you this. I'm going to share the Dragonchain architecture here with you, and I will scroll down. There's plenty in here, and if you haven't read it, when was this? This was from November of 2016. It was published, right? It's only had like minor changes since then. For I think there were some spelling things or something. Let's see here, transactions. So transactions have info in them, and on the level 1 chain on Den.Social's own blockchain, it has the full text information about the author or owner, and various other metadata, right, in the payload. That payload is stripped, however, and it is only the signature hash is sent up to the other levels. So the other levels don't have access, and that's just the standard for Dragonchain. But I will show you down here. This is what happens on a normal blockchain. So you would normally have, okay, I have a block, and then the hash of that block is placed in the next block when it's created, and so on, so that it's hard to rebuild depending what kind of proof is attached. Dragonchain has another dimension, vertical, however you'd want to say it, where we do validation, diversity check, notary, and then even and I don't think it's funny thing is I think the diagram doesn't even show it at the level 5 in this, but it's not how we described it back then. But this is potentially a better way to consider it, that the lower in this grid you are, the simpler it is, the more scalable it is, but the lower security and the more trust involved. So like Den.Social has its own chain, and it is extremely scalable, but it's not super decentralized on its own. However, running through all of DragonNet, the level 2, 3, and 4, and then the level 5, which hits Ethereum and Bitcoin, and I think there's a couple other chains in there right now, that it becomes higher security, more until it's almost, I guess, mathematically trustless. And then the most important thing in my mind is that it is measurable. You can actually measure how much it costs to create new blocks, and therefore, if you wanted to change information down here, you would have to be able to change information on Bitcoin or Ethereum, which is nearly impossible, give or take. So, but extremely noticeable and knowable if it does happen. If something actually, there was a huge fork and something changed because a nation state decided to change some data that they wanted to be different, everyone would know. So extremely powerful, right? And so essentially all of the level 1 chains are aggregated their blocks and the verifications all the way up through level 4 are aggregated on a level 5 chain in the Dragonchain network itself, and that chain will essentially aggregate all of this information from those lower level 1s, and then occasionally, and it is timed. Usually, it is configured, or some systems have automated this, but Dragonet itself doesn't. That it's configured to roll that out or throw it out onto Bitcoin or Ethereum based upon the average current fees. So if the fees go up, it gets slowed down, that type of thing. But you could tune that to do whatever you wanted, and you could make it you could make it run every block if you wanted, but it would cost you a lot, and it wouldn't be very scalable. You might not be able to get it on chain every time. I don't know, but either way. So to answer your question, the text and metadata is put on the Den chain, but the decentralized portion is the proof of that. So it doesn't need to contain the actual text. And in fact, to crawl backwards from that level 5, or more importantly, from the Bitcoin side itself, would be, I would say, nearly impossible. You might be able to brute force it if there's not a lot of traffic, but yeah, very unlikely. So either way, that's what gets up there. Hopefully that answers the question. That's the last question. That is the only 2 questions. Okay, so we have no featured post. I can tell what I already mentioned about the case, and the fact that we are still, as far as I know, and I know from the attorney, I don't want to give too much info, but they are still going back and forth a little bit, and hopefully everything's agreeable. Who knows? And hopefully we either get a good deal, or I'm okay if we go to trial. But don't pin anything happening tomorrow, because I don't know if we're going to get direct news that, hey, here is the result. Here is what's happening tomorrow. We might very well get, maybe the judge tells us, okay, it's going to trial, and we don't, we have to keep negotiating in the meantime. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but yeah. So don't pin anything on the 20th. That is a date that I believe the court set as a stay, because we were in negotiation, and they wanted to give us time to do that. Plus, too, it's almost Christmas, right? So surely they're not so evil that they would run the case through Christmas, right? Anyway, I don't know if they care about Christmas, frankly. But either way, don't pin anything on the 20th. Do pay attention. We will be as transparent as we can, but our absolute goal is to do this well, to do it right, and to win. And that will outweigh any communication to the public in the meantime. So, but once it happens, we will let you know, and we'll give you ample good info. And I will tell you, I am super excited about what's coming. I'm super excited about some of the scenarios that we think might happen, and some of the scenarios for change might happen regardless of the outcome of this, because some of these things we've been waiting for years to act on, and some of this has been actually forced because of the case. So we, for example, I can tell you one thing. This is super technical, might be boring, but something that is coming, although I can't give you timing on it, totally depends on this case and everything else, is to greatly simplify the nodes and the architecture itself in a few cases, based upon things that we have learned about deployments, community deployments of verification nodes. Thank you guys, everybody who's ever run a verification node. You guys are awesome, and we love you forever. And What we want to do, though, is to make it so that it is much simpler to deploy them, even for a near to layperson, and where you would be able to deploy it on a much smaller footprint, on a Raspberry Pi or maybe even an Arduino, something though that you could potentially even sell a little piece of hardware, something that costs 20, 30, 40 bucks, and just plug it in your basement or something, and it would just do its thing for verification nodes. And then probably more importantly, for the business node, the level 1 node, we're going to strip away a lot of the libraries that you need to deploy it. Right now, it was set up for huge enterprises, and we really think that there's a much bigger market for the small, and that could still be applied to huge enterprises, because they could put blockchain nodes. They could put 100 blockchain nodes in their warehouse, right? Every one of these is a little device that's pulling data and proving it, right? There's tons of stuff there. And if it were radically easier to deploy, the adoption will go up for certain, because we have the most scalable, the most secure blockchain, and this would make it easy to use, or easier to use. So anyway, a lot of that's coming. And that also flows into a couple of different products we're looking to offer that are, again, super exciting, but I don't want to say anything yet. And ties into, also the way that DRAKARIA is rolling out, and a bunch of other things that we're working on. So there's some fun stuff coming. Just, keep your eyes on it, and, pay attention to what we're doing, because there will be some definite fun stuff coming out of it, and you'll be able to hopefully benefit by, doing stuff with your dragons that are maybe a little more expanded than what you can do today. So it'll be fun. Anyway, so that's all of it. Sorry, no featured post. Sorry it took so long to explain all that. Hopefully it was decent and understandable. Really appreciate you guys listening. If you have the wherewithal, go buy some dragon merch. It's the dragon crest or coat of arms for the dragon family. And sorry, I'm not showing the screen anymore, am I? And if you are able, the legal fund is very important right now, because we do have a legal bill, and we do owe them a bit of money, and so they will accept crypto, they will accept fiat. You can put in something for a recurring donation, but either way, it will be well placed. And if you do this, you can reach out. I mean, I don't know what I'm allowed to do to compensate, right? But if you're in town, I'll take you to dinner for a beer if you're nearby. And if you have a conversation, or you want free consultation for your business, I'm there for that. We appreciate this a lot. This would help us a lot. And let's see here. That's it. So make sure you watch us again next week, and make sure you watch the roundtable today, World Blockchain Roundtable, 1100 Eastern. That's in 29 minutes, 1500 UTC. And follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and Jojo Row on Den.Social and X. And I think that's everything. So thanks a bunch, and we will see you next week.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.